Welcome to the Talent Development Hot Seat podcast. I am your host, Andy Storch, and I'm excited that you're joining me today for another great episode and conversation to help you up your game and improve your capabilities in the world of talent development. We've got a good one for you today. We're talking about spinoffs and culture, as well as leadership and health and wellness as well. My guest today is Johanna Hummer, who is the Vice President of Global People Success at Opella, a consumer healthcare company that was previously part of Sanofi, where she oversees talent development, cultural enhancement, learning initiatives, and diversity and inclusion for over 10,000 employees globally. Previously, Johanna held several leadership positions at Sanofi, including, it's Sanofi, isn't it? Previously, Johanna held several leadership positions at Sanofi, including VP of HR and Global Head of People Success for Consumer Healthcare and Global HR Head for Growth, Innovation, and Success. Johanna is passionate about female leadership, coaching, and developing young talent. She holds a master's degree from the University of Applied Sciences in International Business Relations and is a certified systemic coach. Johanna, welcome to the show.
Thank you, Andy, for inviting me. Pleasure to be here.
It's so great to have you on. And I believe you are in Austria, is that right?
Yes, I'm located in Vienna in Austria, so in the center of Europe.
Center of Europe. I like it. You know, I've done over, I think, 500 interviews now for this show. I don't think I've had anyone on from Austria before, so excited to have you here.
Great. Thank you again for the invitation.
Well, let's start with a little bit of your background. I always love to know, how did you get into talent development in the first place?
That's actually a very good question, because when I started over 20 years ago my career in HR, I really went through all the different functions, right? I went through payroll certification. I was working in compensation and benefits. Then actually I fell in love with being a business partner, because for me, always being on eye level with the business and be very close to the business to see immediately the real impact of the work you are doing was very important. But to do so, of course, talent is always at the core as well when we are talking about working in and for me, my ambition was to move to talent acquisition, talent development, really to bring this topic closer to the business, to really do with my team those who matter for the business and give the real impact to the business. So this was my ambition and driver that I took this role nearly 2 years ago now.
Excellent. And you've been on quite a journey now, working in such a global organization, going through the spinoff that happened recently. So I was really curious to find out more about that, because a lot of people may not get a chance to go through something like this. But Sanofi, being a huge pharmaceutical and healthcare group, had spun off Opella, the consumer healthcare arm, just a few months or not, pretty recently. I'm curious if you could share about Opella's journey of spinning off from Sanofi and building a new company culture. What have been some of the key challenges and opportunities from the transition?
Yeah, actually, it's really an exciting journey. And if I may quote here, our CEO, Julie van Ongewalle, it's really a once in a lifetime opportunity. And this is also how I personally experience it and feel it. We started actually working on this journey already in 2020, so 5 years ago, where as part of our people strategy, we were working on our new operating model. We moved our organization from a category approach to a consumer-centric, brand-led organization, which was a major step for us to get being prepared for our spin-off. And the other thing really was our culture. For us, culture is the heartbeat of every successful organization. And we know that the best strategy, of course, we prepared, will not make us win without having the right culture. So having said this, we started already 3 years ago, being part still of Sanofi, of course, but knowing our ambition, becoming the best FMCH, which means fast-moving consumer healthcare company in and for the world, to run our culture, we defined 4 behaviors. We call our culture the challenger mindset. And then, Andy, on the way moving forward, when it was clear, when Sanofi announced the potential spin-off of consumer healthcare business from Sanofi, we went back to our senior leader. We are hosting a leaders forum in the beginning of the year, and together with our senior leaders, we started working on our culture assessment. So we looked again into what is missing, what do we want to keep, and how we made it happen was really a very exciting project. I was able to. We took a 10-week sprint with a handful of senior leaders who were empowered by the executive committee to work on our behaviors, on our future culture. And these 4 behaviors were then already published, presented to our teams last year in July 24, together with our brand identity. So for us, it was very, very important. On the one hand, having our brand, but on the is the what, right? But on the other hand, the how, our culture. And when I look today on our culture, it's 4 behaviors. We start the story with saying we are all in together, which means for us keep each other honest. So feedback is a very important core element of our culture, but we also have each other's back, right? So this is our first value. Not value, no, this we need to delete. We don't say value, we say behavior, sorry.
Yeah.
The second one is with this pharma heritage, of course, we are very proud of. It's about being, where can we be more courageous? Of course, with integrity, but take thoughtful but more risky decisions. And the third one is for us the most important, because this was really the outcome of our culture assessment. It's to be outcome obsessed. It's really about not the effort, but the impact and the sustainable impact we give to the organization. And last but not least, many discussions to stop here, but we added a 4th behavior to be radically simple. Radically simple for us as an organization, and radically simple for our consumer, as it should be. Looking at the challenges, and this, I guess, your question to summarize this, one key challenge was really how to balance this pharmaceutical heritage with the speed and the agility required to move into a fast-moving consumer health environment. So this was really the challenge. How do we bring our people along? We established an ambassadors program, so really to balance both sides of the coin to embed this new culture. The second challenge is, of course, we know this is happening overnight. We are now working on that over 12 months, but we still see that we need to go deeper in the countries, in the functions, to really speak the same language here, and to really also see these behaviors in action on daily basis.
Yeah, I bet there's a lot of challenges that come with that when you have such a global organization, different cultures involved. How did you land on the 4 core values that were really going to define the culture? Is that something that was defined by leadership and then rolled out, or was it more of a collaboration with people across the organization?
Actually, it started with this small core team of senior leaders empowered by the executive committee. And what we did on the way to finalize this, we went back to the organization, right? We did some surveys. We asked people how this resonates, right? We nearly had 500 people involved in collecting their feedback. So really to make sure that this is something which resonates for the organization. Very important part for us here as well is nearly half of our population is in manufacturing sites. How do we make sure these behaviors are also applicable and visible in the sites was also a pilot during this project we did to see how we can make this work.
All right. Well, most of our listeners work in talent development, learning and development. I know we all care about culture and values and how you implement that. We also care about learning and development, of course. And you mentioned, at least when we talked before, I think, about building a new learning organization and a talent development approach for Opella. So Opella, so you got really an opportunity to kind of refresh and build anew. And I'm curious, how did you approach that? And how did you approach creating this new learning organization and talent development approach there?
Yeah, also a key priority for us to build this learning organization, this learning culture. Actually, where we are coming from is more learning is something mandatory because on compliance reasons we need to do it. It was not like that people were happy or were really using all these offers, right? We are coming from a place where we had over 80 local global learning platforms. And our clear target was linked to one of our behavior, our culture, be radically simple, to implement a one-stop shop for learning. So we implemented actually our learning platform, we call it Elevate, in July this year. The clear target here was to link this to our business priorities, to our strategy, and also start with a phased approach, right? As we speak, we have only implemented roughly 50% on what we are planning, and we defined 4 key areas for us to start with. We start with our brands, because the brands is our core of our business. Leadership is the second one, which is very important for us. The third one is onboarding, really to use this learning system for a proper onboarding and also for the culture journeys. And the fourth pillar is supply chain and what we need for manufacturing and supply. So this is how we set this up. Again, we did not do this in silo. It was a great collaboration with the digital team and the business. So always have the business lens here in focus. And we have now moved from a decentralized learning organization to a small global central organization who drives the learning for Opella.
Okay, so from decentralized to more centralized, where you are making recommendations and helping people across the organization. Can you elaborate on the strategy and priorities around upskilling and career mobility? Because I know that's been a priority, as it is for many large global organizations, and really helping people grow in their careers and within the organization.
Yeah, as we speak, we are working on our program for upskilling on our talent strategy to see where are the key capabilities we need to start building here, and also we defined here 3 first capabilities to start with. Actually, we are not there where we want to be with Elevate now. We have the start here. As we speak, we are about to define critical roles for Opella, and actually when it comes to development, succession, and all our individual development plans, which we of course roll out for all our 11,000 employees, we will start really with this prioritized group of these critical roles, which are the roles we defined. They are creating the value for Opella. It's business value roles, but also valuing roles, and we want to make sure to have here the right capabilities, the right talents in place.
Okay, so finding ways to create these opportunities, match people with the right opportunities and capabilities. How are you thinking about the most needed capabilities or skills of the future? This is something that so many organizations are trying to figure out now. You and I met at the HR World Summit in Lisbon, Portugal, a few months back, and that was one of the big topics. Was besides AI, was figuring out the skills and capabilities needed in the future, and how do we design a culture and a learning and HR organization for the future of work. Curious how you're thinking about that now to help the organization, especially talent, move in the right direction.
Yeah, actually, and I know that most of the organizations are saying this, but I also will start again with HI and digital skills. And what I'm still observing is us included in full transparency. Everyone is talking about it, but have we really landed what we need to do? Not now, right? So this is the first priority for us here. The second one is really how do we equip our leaders in our context now, especially we are moving from a big listed company to a private equity environment. So how do we deliver our results? And this is the second capability I really see. And then it's again all what is the professional capabilities. It starts again with financial acumen. We need really to equip all the different roles with financial acumen. We're not a business unit of a big company anymore. We are now Opella, so every one of us here the accountability to do. So to summarize, I would say on one part, we go really back to the basis to upskill the organization here. We also implemented recently, or we have now the 2.0, we call it Thrive, is the upskilling program for our HR organization, where we started 3 years ago, where we did basics of change management, what we needed for transformation. Now we are really going back to how to equip a business partner with financial acumen and all this financial knowledge. So this is our focus. We really to make sure that our team can be the custodian, the strategic advisor for our business here.
Previously in my career, I worked a lot with organizations to improve business acumen and strategy alignment. I'm curious how you're approaching that, because I know that's a need for a lot of organizations as well.
Actually, we are currently focusing on two things. We have recently launched a program. We call it Brand Champions Program, which has different pillars included. One is really to learn more about the brands. There is one pillar on our challenger mindset, on our culture, on our ways of working, one part of leadership, and one part again really on the financial acumen. And we are approaching it a mixture of micro learnings, of e-learnings, of face-to-face trainings, but also working on real case studies with real examples we need currently to deliver in the business.
Okay. And are there any main partners you're working with that you are willing to discuss? Do you build all this internally? Do you build or do you work with external partners? Is it a mix? I'm just curious.
As we speak, it's an internal program, but really developing external partnerships. We are also working on establishing a leadership academy. This will be launched in Q1 26. So we are currently looking for the right partners here to make it work together with us.
Wonderful. I wanted to ask you about leadership as well, because whenever I talk to anyone about building and designing and maintaining culture, while we talk about it being about the people, it's really about the tone that's set by leadership, right? And are they encouraging people to live and operate by those values? Are they encouraging career mobility, the things that we talked about? So I would imagine, given your last comment, it's a work in progress, but how do you generally think about approaching leadership development and developing leaders so that they are reinforcing those values?
So for me personally, it has to have a certain standard and culture. How do we embed this culture? We are also currently developing our leadership competencies for Opella. So all will be grounded in our 4 behaviors on culture and on the leadership competencies. The starting point here for us. Of course, knowing the global discussions ongoing, inclusion and belonging is also a very important topic for us to be included in these programs. And what we actually do as a starting point, we see when we look on leadership in our organization that we have in the middle management the biggest gap. So how do we prepare first leaders in first leadership roles, but also people leading a small team? And this is something we did during the transformation. We called this program Lead to Growth, actually. And this was also a main module of this was change management, and to prepare the leaders for this transformation.
Interesting. I know from talking with you before, or rather, when we spoke last time, one of the things that really struck me about the work you're doing at Opella was that there was a big focus on well-being and work-life balance and health overall for your workforce. I wonder if you can talk about that focus and what are some of the specific programs, policies, and initiatives that you've put in place to support employee health and wellness.
Yeah, no, thank you. And actually, this accelerated and evolved even further since we talked last time. Actually, we published our future people and culture. We call HR people and culture at Opella strategy, and we call this our promise. And this consists of 4 pillars, where we always define for each of the pillar what are we promising to our employees, but the other way around, what are we expecting getting back from our employees. And actually our first pillar, and this is linked to our vision and mission, is we define health for our people by design. And here I'm closing the loop to your question. This is really where we embedded embrace our well-being strategy for Opella, which we launched in June this year. This also consists of different pillars. Of course, there is one still, the financial well-being, where we see this is becoming more and more important. We have the mental well-being and all what is about this work-life balance and also health programs. So looking at our benefits and what is added here in this strategy, it really starts by that everyone can take care of their health, right? We are offering health checks. We have, of course, hybrid working models where people really can get most flexibility out of it. But on the other hand, also programs like when you are affected by a serious disease, right, cancer, we have a program. So if you as an employee or one of your family member is affected, you get support here, financial support, but also mental support, how to go through these difficult times. So always we say health in our hands, so that every one of us can take his or her own health also in the hands.
And this is, again, something that I would imagine really needs to be carried forward and reinforced by leaders in the organization. Otherwise, people will feel more like it's just an empty promise that, it's not really working for them.
That's true. We are currently launching a series of videos and examples in the organization where senior leaders also share their examples. I mean, in Europe, we are coming now after the summer with vacation, right, where leaders really show how important it is to disconnect and to recharge, and really also to role model. And this is what we see is very important for our people. And if you have someone in the team affected by whatever cause it is, and you see how team members are supporting this, these are the stories we are currently promoting internally.
Okay, very interesting. So you're seeing senior leaders model that and talk about the importance of taking time off, of taking care of your health, and supporting other people in doing the same. I'm curious, we haven't talked about that much about the global side of working with people in different cultures. how do you think about keeping this culture of the organization consistent when you're working with people in different cultures and different countries around the world who may operate a little bit differently and perceive things differently?
It's a very good question. And I think what I'm personally benefiting here from is that I worked myself in local, regional, and global roles. So now being in a global role, I'm always putting myself into the shoes on a local role and to see how can we make the most impact to all of our countries. We are operating in more than 40 countries globally. What we are doing, we usually give a global guidance, of course, allowing local adoptions. And even before, it's not built in the ivory tower in Paris, in the headquarters. We are inviting people from all over the globe, across the globe, to give their inputs and to bring their ideas, test the things. So for me, it's really finding the right balance to follow through in a radically simple way, see where it needs to be adapted locally. And of course, what is working in US will not work in Japan. And this is exactly where we also have our local people and culture teams and communication teams supporting us when we are implementing new guidelines and new initiatives, how we can make this best.
Yeah, no doubt. As you go forward and continue to grow and evolve as an independent organization, what are some of the biggest talent-related challenges and opportunities that you see for Opella?
Actually, what we are currently working on as we are speaking, and the launch is planned for October, we are working on our Opella story, on our employer value proposition, and on our employer branding, where again, our approach is grounded in our authentic storytelling. So we really bring to life our people. We have real voices of our people. We will have videos, different assets where we went for photo shoots to a site in Mexico and to headquarters in Paris, really to make it most authentic, bring also with this in the story our brand to life. So this is when it comes to attracting talents, but also retaining talents, our biggest opportunity we currently see. The second thing is really the development and building the career path and implementing our leadership framework, as we call it, our competencies to make it really simple also for employees. So the idea is really to work in future on one of your strengths you would like to further develop and define only one development item. We come from a world where we tried to put everything into one development plan, and then we were not consistent on the execution. So this is really the idea, circling back to the culture where we start our discussion today, how we can make it radically simple and outcome obsessed for all of our employees.
Coming back to those core values, I'm glad you mentioned branding. I know that from talking with you before, employer branding and communicating Opella's employee value proposition is a really big thing for you in this moment. You mentioned going forward. As you may know, I'm very big on personal branding as well. I recently published a new book called Own Your Brand, Own Your Career, to help people really think about getting clarity and being intentional with their personal brands and how that can also help the organization. I'm curious, as you encourage more storytelling and Opella, the organization, telling a story and building that employer brand to attract better talent, do you also do things or think about encouraging individuals to build their personal brands and how that can benefit the organization as well?
Actually, there's a very good thought and point, and we have not worked on this on now. I take this as an idea and input for you to take further.
Okay, well, we could talk more about it after the interview. This is really cool. You've got some great things going on. I know you Johanna, I know you're also passionate about female leadership and coaching. Tell me how those manifest in the work you do at Opella and beyond.
Yeah. Of course, and I told you that inclusion and belonging is one of a very important thing for us at Opella. Actually, we had in the past dedicated leadership programs for female talents. Now is also moving it a bit broader, not having gender only in focus, but also thinking about accessibility and ability. So this is what we would like to bring. But when I look now on our figures, when I look on our senior leaders, we have nearly 50%, so half of them are female leaders here. So we are really always trying to bring a diverse bench here when hiring new people, and also how do we make sure to accelerate female talents internally. Looking outside, this is perhaps closing the loop to my home country, Austria. I'm passionate really here to support on market female leaders to develop their careers, and also for important roles as supervisory board roles. How can we make female talents here ready on the one hand, but also visible? So what is very important, and there are different associations like HBA, where I'm part of, the Healthcare Businesswoman organization, where we really try to get visible and bring the talents here on stage.
Excellent. It's really cool to hear how you are thinking about those things for the future and getting involved in helping other people, especially in your home country of Austria. I'm curious, when you think about talent development broadly, are there any trends that you're following right now that you're really excited about?
Talent development trends. I think I need to quickly think. They're not telling you something that I told you already.
That's okay. I know I didn't prepare you for this.
Talent development.
Or can I skip that and ask you about AI and future readiness? Are you have anything that you can talk about there?
No.
No? Okay, that's all right.
No. This is where we are talking about, but have nothing tangible, right?
Yeah, that's okay. Because I know everyone's curious, like how are different organizations thinking about using AI and getting ready for the future, but that's okay. We don't have to go there, or what trends you're seeing. So we can scrap that. But can I ask you for a book recommendation? Is that okay?
Say again.
Sorry, can I ask you for a book recommendation? Is that okay? Do you have a book that you has made an impact for you, or you often recommend to others? Realize I didn't send these. These are my standard. Okay, that's right. Let's get back to finishing this up. Okay. So Johanna, now you have gone through this spinoff from Sanofi into this individual organization. I know there's been a lot of work there in changing, helping employees understand this shift in how they work and establishing this new culture. Where'd my question go? What lessons have you taken away that would be useful for others who may be going through, similar either mergers or especially spinoffs from organizations to go out and establish that new culture and talent development organization?
Actually, for me, and it's usually not the first thing we are talking about, but it's so important to listen to the people. To give rooms to all the arguments, the concerns some people might have. So really this emotional component is as important as the whole transformation. So for me, this really is a big learning. And also that, of course, with us on the journey, not everyone we had as an employee 3 years ago stayed with Opella. Also to accept that some people this excitement where I'm super excited about is not the right way to do. So really listening to people, dealing with the emotions behind giving psychological safety to the people, be transparent, but also be honest that of course in journey you always don't know what will happen tomorrow. So these are my key learnings I take with me, and really challenge the organization daily. Is what you are doing really needed? What for the consumer, right? So always having the consumer and why we are here in mind.
Excellent. As we wrap up, and you have moved up through different roles in HR into this global role in this global organization, for those listening who work in talent development and are looking for new ways to grow in their own careers, what's one more piece of advice you would give?
Try always new things, and be curious, and also take the challenge. When I look at my current role now, this role is super exciting. When do you have the chance to build a talent strategy from scratch, to build an organization from scratch, to look on how do you recruitment and how do you set up this model, building a new culture. So if you would have asked me 3 years ago, I would have said, I'm not sure if I can do this. So really count on your strengths, and yeah, also perhaps jump into the cold water sometimes, and be courageous.
Yeah, I love that. Be curious, be courageous, be willing to get outside of your comfort zone and try new things, because you never know, you may end up becoming good at something that you didn't think you were capable of doing before. Well, Johanna, this has been great. Thank you so much for joining me today and sharing so much of your experience and wisdom. It's been great meeting you and talking with you, working with you both at the conference a few months back and over the last few months, and the podcast today. And I look forward to keeping in touch and talking with you more in the future.
Thank you, and it was a pleasure being with you today.